Welcome back to Less Than Geek. My name is Travis.
And I'm Peyton.
And in this episode, we're going to be focusing on Rebel small ship builds. Kind of borderline swarm, definition.
Bit as swarmy as Rebel can get.
Yeah, a little swarmy. For the baseline to kind of define this group, we have this build here with 4 just standard Blue Squadron B-Wings, 2 pilot skill, no upgrades, 22 points each. That puts you at 88. For the other 12, you just throw a Z95 in there. So you got 5 ships, all 2 pilot skill. It's just straight hit points and
damage.
Red dice. Yeah,
it's about two under the maximum amount of red dice you could be throwing.
Right. So this build's been pretty popular and successful in some areas. It has done well against some of the fat, turreted ships in the meta, Decimators and Falcons, especially if, for whatever reason, they kind of go right towards you or, you're able to block them with, obviously the Z95 basically gets used as kind of your blocker ideally.
Yeah.
But, multiple B-Wings just all lining up on something are going to put a hurting on it. So, you're at risk of getting arc dodged by higher pilot skill stuff with the, engine upgrades and whatnot. But, for just raw firepower and hit points, so you got 36 health to chew through here. That's a pain. So I think sometimes this list is won just because of that, because it's like ahead on points when time runs out.
I feel it doesn't punish you for small errors.
Mm-hmm.
You could hit an asteroid at multiple of these and still be pretty much fine.
Yeah, compared to landing Soontir on an asteroid and getting murdered or something.
Yeah, that's basically game over. This
Yeah.
very, very large margin of error for these guys.
Yeah, now for regionals, since the rounds are supposed to be 75 minutes, I'm kind of feeling like this list might not do as well as it has been in some of the Sword Championships. Because, again, you don't know exactly how those games played out when you just look at results on paper. But I suspect a lot of them were games where they managed to kill, like, one of the big ships and then only lose, a couple, like say, 1 B-Wing in the Z. So that would be, 34 points? If you killed a Falcon, you win. If you killed a Decimator, you win. Yeah,
and then they have the chance to come back,
yeah,
the opponent, but they'll just run out of time. It takes too long to kill B with 1 ship.
Yeah, but with an extra 15 minutes now, that ship that they have left, that Cornhorn or Soontir or whatever was hanging out with the big ship that you could focus on, but you can't seem to get that smaller ship in arc.
Yeah.
15 more minutes, especially at the end of the game, fewer ships, the rounds go faster and faster. Yeah, I think they can pick one more of them apart, and all of a sudden, they might be ahead on points. So you definitely will see this, and it's been, like I said, pretty popular and successful. But that extra 15 minutes could be a problem for it in regionals. Now, again, this is just kind of a baseline. Some other variants, you've seen people maybe try to work in a named pilot. There was one that won a store championship that had just one of these generic B-Wings, and then another one was Key Farlander with some upgrades on them, and then they played 3 Z95s to still kind of keep the ship count at 5, but he had more firepower. I think that's kind of risky because especially against some of the higher pilot skill stuff, because if they can just key in on Farlander and take them down, if they're able to dodge them, Soontir and stuff like that, you could be in a real bad place real quick.
I also don't like dropping the damage potential.
Mm-hmm.
Dropping from 3 dice to 2 dice is a big drop.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of the success I think of this list has been how much health it has and kind of the time limit. And by having that build with the extra Z's and stuff, but still only having 5 ships, I think he loses out on something like 8 health, like whole B-Wings worth. Some other options. People have played a lot with Rebel control builds, stress builds. Those you wouldn't really classify as a swarm because now you get down to kind of like the 4-ship territory.
Yeah, standard 4-ship.
Yeah, kind of like what used to be really popular in the first few waves.
Yeah.
So then, you've got 3 B-Wings with a tactician on each one and a Gold Squadron Y-Wing with the ion turret and the stress droid. That's kind of the most common, Rebel control build. But, there's anything that is focused on dishing out stress and ions and, has about that many ships falls in there. There's people that swear by that. To me, I feel like that's the most overrated build in the game. I feel like it wins mostly on the strength of just the B-Wings punching stuff in the face.
Yeah, it's like, take 1 stress. Oh, by the way, take 3 damage.
Yeah, now once you get there, they stay on you because of the stress. So it is doing something. And then they continue to punch you and win. But if they don't get you in that place in the first place and you do a good job of dodging them in the first place, I feel like it usually wins when people just kind of go right into it. And you can't just run right into B-Wings with anything. People have this misconception that the Decimator is this super tough, tanky thing. And just as an example, and I saw a lot of games during the Wave 5 days over the past few months, Store Championships, where people just kind of charge that thing right in there. Well, it's got 16 health, but that means it can die in 16 dice, which is about 5 shots. If there's some range 1, and you know what I mean.
Like, ironically, this squad right here does 14 by itself.
Right.
Range 1, it's
God forbid there's some direct hits in there.
Yeah.
So it's able to shrug off a few glancing blows without caring with all that health. But that still means that you wanted to engine upgrade to boost out of some marks. You kind of want to take like a perpendicular path and kind of cut across them and boost away. I guess there's any number of configurations that you could really delve into with this.
Fire control systems, advanced sensors.
Yeah, you can play B-Wings with just advanced sensors and just the 4 of them.
Throw some X-Wings in there.
Yeah. Obviously the X-Wing isn't the most mathematically efficient thing right now, but some of the pilots, the pilots do have good abilities if you can, try to get some mileage out of them. But yeah, you can maybe just cut down on the B-Wing count. Something we saw one at one time where a guy had 2 B-Wings with some random crew on them. One had C-3PO just to be extra hard to kill. One had
Lando.
Lando or something. So they were just extra hard to kill. But it was a 6-ship build, so that trade-off at least he got 4 Z's. He had more bodies. So yeah, this is just kind of Rebel swarm stuff in general. As far as matchups go, I mean, this list being so relatively simple, it doesn't have a lot of upgrade cards that pull their weight in certain matchups, and you know what I mean, like a lot of the other builds we've gone over where there's a lot of moving pieces to consider. So it's pretty much going to work again against just the large turreted ships, the things that because those ships are inefficient in a sense of how many points they cost, how many attack dice you're getting in your squad as a whole, right? You're only getting 2 shots with a 2-ship build.
You're I'm averaging 6 attack dice on my 2-ship build.
And, how much health they have for 50 points of your squad or whatever as opposed to these B-Wings. So they're inefficient in those terms as a trade-off for all their tricks and the turret and everything, always being able to shoot. So, yeah, if you get to you get them in a stand-up slugging match, you're going to beat them pretty much every time. They might be easier to block, and then really with anything you play against it with this, you just got to block it
or corner it,
and then just pound it. And those ships, the larger base, something like a Decimator, Falcon with their actual maneuvering, they're fairly predictable.
Yeah.
So you can get them. You're playing against something like a bunch of interceptors, or maybe IGD-8s with, depending on their configuration, inertial dampeners and advanced sensors and 90-degree K-turn guy, all the tricks they might have. It becomes a little harder against a lot of those ships, or like I said, interceptors or Corn Horn or whatever, to maybe predict where they're going to be, block them. They can arc dodge you. So you're going to struggle in those matchups. It's going to be kind of high risk, high reward.
Yeah, you got to roll the dice on predicting where they're going to land.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We were saying how unforgiving a build like this is, relatively speaking, for one mistake here or there. Really, at that point, you've put that burden on your opponent, where they probably have the advantage against you with ships like that. But if they do make one mistake, it can prove fatal.
Yeah.
The one time that Soontir ends up running into your Z95 and you got 3 B-Wings that are going to murder him when he has no actions and no ability to dodge or arc, that can change the whole game right there.
Yep.
So it's definitely capable of pulling that off, and like I said, it's won a lot of events, so some people have had some success with it.
Yeah, it certainly does it.
But I think that extra 15 minutes might be a problem for it. But so that's going to wrap up our coverage of Rebel small ships, kind of an umbrella category. And we'll be back with another video in our regional preparation series. And if you like this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.